as women, are we trying to achieve something that shouldn't be achievable? Meaning, should we feel good every day? Should we have high energy? Should we be high producing? Should we look a certain way? Should we never age? Should we have, super low body fat? Should we be, great lean muscle mass? Like, is there a problem with the objective?
What a fabulous question that is. So parts of the answer, I was nodding to parts of the question, the beginning parts, like, should we feel good every day? Absolutely. Should we have high energy every day? Absolutely. Like, those types of things are actually just clear and straightforward biofeedback from your body, your adrenal system, your nervous system, all of these things, your immunological system. Yes, you should be operating at your optimal state of flow, right? That is what nature wants for you. Okay. And every system in your body is designed to make sure that it's maintaining the homeostasis that's required from a intracellular level to a hormone level, to, you name it, blood sugar level, so that you can have that optimal state of being. If we're now shifting to questions around physical appearance, whether that be weight or, I don't know, wrinkles or whatever, right? Then it comes down to, I'm somebody who's maintained a 60-pound weight loss for 2 decades, right? And I did that by not deprivation and not over exercising, but by really putting the focus not on the weight loss, but on supporting my biological rhythm, right? So I think if you are struggling with some symptoms that you're not happy with, that are biofeedback from the body, that there might be inflammation or stress or disruption, right? Or premature aging, which is not a good thing, right? Then again, the focus should not be, let's say, I don't know, have liposuction or some extreme thing to fix the problem. We should look and say, what could I do to more deeply support the systems that are giving me this biofeedback, that are crying out for help? So it's more just a shift, what I like to call, active listening and, compassionate responding, right? So part of the issue is that, Gloria Steinem said this a long time ago. I said this to open up, I think, my TED Talk a long time ago, which is that from a young age, little boys are taught to view their bodies as a tool to master their lives and environment. Whereas little girls are taught to view their bodies as a challenge or a problem that they always have to work on. That is a profoundly different way of orienting yourself to your life with your body, as your partner, right? So if you were to adopt the mindset that your body is a tool with which you can master your life, and you do that as a woman, then if you heard a symptom coming from your body, like excess weight, you would not say, gee, let me go find a XYZ fix. It would be, okay, how do I fix this? How do I take action and have leadership around this issue, such that I can see that my body is getting the inputs that it needs? It's really that very simple. You change your inputs, the body changes its outputs. That's what biofeedback is all about. Yeah. So if you want to have weight loss, as for example, as a goal, it isn't actually for women just about restricting calories and working out more. That actually will get you to gain weight, turns out. So
I read that and I was like, what?
All these years I've been doing that and it's just getting me nowhere fast. Yes, in fact, that is exactly where it's happening. So, really looking at, how do I work smarter, not harder? And then I like that word of, like, shifting the objectives. I don't think it should be on fixing the problems that you're having. It should be about, oh, my body's having a problem, which means I'm screwing up the inputs. What do I do to fix the input so that my body stops having a problem that I'm likely creating, or at least contributing in large part to, right? Then that can be said about weight. That can be said about premature aging. That can be said about, I don't know what basically most things, right? Unless you have some sort of disorder or genetic factors, most of these things that are metabolic, it really comes down to our inputs.
I found it fascinating. I'm curious of what some things that we can do are. But the first thing that to like talk about and move aside is I can't believe that, like, with birth control, you don't have a regular cycle. And I mean, that's just crazy to me. And I don't feel like I was ever told that.
I know.
So
You're right. You weren't.
no,
That's true. I can't argue with that either.
Yeah. And how many times that wants to be given to you to solve things.
Right.
Right. Oh, you have this. I'll give you that. Oh, I have this,
Listen,
symptoms or whatever. And so what are the repercussions of that? That's really what I'm curious about. I mean, it's a bummer that we don't know. And I don't know, maybe they don't know, maybe, but
no, I mean, they're very forthcoming now, at least, to say that, these taking synthetic birth control of any kind does not fix, your PCOS or your fibroids. It's not a cure.
right.
But it's the best tool that they currently have, based on the very little bit of research and funding that research has received around women's, chronic gynecological issues. I mean, let's not forget that the most commonly performed surgical procedure is a hysterectomy, because that is seen as the penultimate solution after a lifetime of chronic GYN issues, is just to remove the quote unquote offending organ, right? Which, if you think, just like put that into context in the male body, there is no analog surgery, right? So, but some 70-year-old dude walked into his GP's office 30 years ago. And when the doc asked him how he was, he said, oh, hey, yeah, everything's good. I've got a new younger girlfriend. She's 50. What can I do about my erection, doc? And then all of a sudden in 1992, because of the flood of funding that went into the research to try to solve this problem for this 70-year-old guy that's not having a life-threatening health problem, or a even all-encompassing health problem, let's say like fibroids is with pain, or endometriosis is with pain, right?
Yeah.
1992, nitric oxide was named the molecule of the year. And then we had not one, not two, but 4 medications developed for erectile dysfunction back in the 90s, right?
Wow.
I mean, you remember Al Gore got on the news talking about his erection, right? But we can't put advertising about menstruation on Facebook or the subway in New York, or, I mean, it's like, but Al Gore can talk about his ED in the 90s,
Wow.
right? So because there isn't equitable research and funding taking place, the best treatment that you will hear from a conventional practitioner is, this is what we've got. This medication is the best we've got. And that's true. It's the best they've got. Doesn't mean it's the best, but it's the best they've got. And then what you should know about it is that it does not fix or solve or cure whatever is wrong with your hormones. What it does do is it shuts them off. You do not ovulate, you do not menstruate, so it does that. Any bleeding you're having is not a period, it's breakthrough bleeding, and you are told, your expectations are set that might eventually go away, because they don't want you to panic, because you actually do still think you're having a period when you're not, right? So you're not having a period goes away. First thing you should know. Second thing you should know is that the synthetic hormones strip your body of a lot of the key micronutrients that your endocrine system needs to function optimally at its most basic level, like vitamin D3 and omega-3s and magnesium and B6. And I mean, there's a whole thing. So it's depleting you. So it's actually putting you in a deficit that you may not have had when you started taking the medication. And then third,
how good could we feel if we just fixed this?
And then third, Dr. Sarah Hill wrote a book called Your Brain on Birth Control. You're not actually the same self, it turns out. It creates a fundamental personality shift. You're not who you are naturally. Well, of course, because it's shutting off this whole cyclical rhythm, which affects your brain patterns. The female brain, 1996, Dr. Catherine Woolley discovered at Northwestern University that the female brain changes up to 25% over the course of the month. but then that's taken from you when you take this medication. A lot of women find that when they're on that medication, they feel confused about what they want, what they're passionate about from a career point of view. Then they go off. I cannot tell you how many times this has happened to just with people I've worked with. They go off the medication. All of a sudden they're super clear. They change careers and they become, like they have the career of their dreams, right? Same thing can happen with relationships. We know that when you're taking synthetic birth control, you're actually attracted to someone that you wouldn't normally be attracted to. And then when you go off the medication, there is a risk that you literally won't be able to stand the smell of this person anymore. Not to mention, you're not an optimal immunological match from a reproductive capacity. So when you're not on synthetic birth control, you're attracted to someone who is genetically the most different from you. And this all happens very subconsciously through, whether or not we believe in pheromones. Those haven't been actually proven in humans, but this whole idea is that we are attracted somehow based on something in the smell of the person that we're attracted to that lets us know that they're as genetically variant from us as possible, which then increases the chance that you will have a very healthy child, right?
Oh.
When you're on the synthetic birth control, you are attracted to someone who has a very similar smell. You're more genetically similar. And so it can have effects on your future children's health, right? Women are definitely not aware of all of these consequences when they're taking this medication. And then what the other really amazing thing is that it's 2021, right? We have technology now that we can use. If the only reason why you're taking it is to prevent pregnancy, which is a wonderful reason to have access to birth control, and we should have as much access as we want. If that's what you want, I have some great updates for you, okay? Which are, first and foremost, you need to know that you're only fertile for 48 hours when that egg drops, right? During ovulation. That is the longest viability time for the egg. It doesn't live the whole month in your uterus, right? It's just 48 hours. Sperm, if you're in a heterosexual relationship, which many of you are not, but if you are, the sperm can only live in your body for 5 days, which gives you a maximum fertile window of 7 days. Right. So just if you think, again, I am nothing if not logical. If you just think about the math, right? Why would you throw a heavy-handed approach of medicating daily for the reality of being fertile really a maximum of 7 days? And so it's just kind of it's becoming a more outdated approach, in my opinion, from a reproductive planning point of view, especially now that we have some really cool advances in the femtech community that allow you to have, again, sovereignty and agency over your fertile window, right? So you can use an app like the Daisy tracker that's going to track with, wireless Bluetooth, your basal body temperature. It's going to chart it for you. You don't have to get out pencil and paper and do this anymore. Or you can use like the Mira app, which is going to check your luteinizing hormones. You urinate on a Bluetooth strip and then it measures that hormone. If you don't have an LH surge, you're not, you know what I mean? It's like there are precise ways that you can measure ovulation now to the minute. And then once you have that data, you have agency. Now you can make some choices. You can use barrier methods. You could abstain if you wanted to, if you felt really concerned. Or there's even some new FDA approved products on the market. There's a product called Phexxi. It's a vaginally inserted gel that changes the pH of your vagina, making it completely inhospitable to sperm. They cannot do what they do. Wow. They can't even get to the cervix. And it just comes out on its own. You don't have to do anything. You just put it in there, set it and forget it.